Oh, we're live. So there you go.
Yes, sir.
Michael seems to be having a little tech problems. My Sydney destroyed my camera, so now I have the crap one on the computer while I wait for the new one to get here from Amazon, which could be anywhere from 3 days to a year,
What's up?
and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
All right.
What's going on? Everybody doing all right?
Hanging in there.
What about you, Michael? Might be having some You there, Mike? So we y'all want to take today? How y'all want to start the conversation off? Got a lot going on in the news. I picked up on a lot of stuff as I was sitting in the barber shop today.
Yeah, I don't go to barbershops very often. So um, I did see that they convicted what's his name, which is as it should be. So I don't know why people are celebrating because that's just the way it should be, right? Like I look at it and I'm like, I understand, right? Like I'm not black. In case nobody noticed. Um, so I get it, right? I understand that it's a big deal, but the way I look at it is it shouldn't be a big deal. Like this should be a commonplace. When somebody murders someone in cold blood, they should go to jail. Like I don't care who they are, right? And that was cold blood. Like there was no sympathy, empathy. There was no like that was cold blooded murder.
Yeah.
That guy has every right to be sentenced, as well as the people that watched him do it. Where are the cops that watched him do it? Where are they right now? You know, and maybe this is what's up, Kenny and
What's
Dorothy.
up, Kenny?
Hey Russ. Like where are the people that that watched him do it? I don't understand. Like why is why are they nowhere to be found in this verdict? Like you sat there and allowed him to murder someone in cold blood.
Yeah.
It's got to be, there's got to be more than this, right? And this shit's got to stop. I mean, shooting the girl whenever that was the 13-year-old because she grabbed a gun instead of a taser to a woman police officer. Like, I mean, that's absurd. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell is that even an excuse? You should be in prison right next to that too. I mean, that's the reality. Like, you don't play this game. You don't just kill people. I don't care what their job is. I know their life's on the line every day, but it doesn't give you the right to kill someone. It just doesn't. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to veggie back off you. I'm glad that we're trying to do something different. We're trying to handle these situations. I'm still waiting on the verdict. That's just how I feel, and I'm with you, Mike. Seems like a few more people need to be held accountable so we can come up with a solution. So these type of things stop. Like I don't, I'm ready to see it stop. Like not continue to work in that direction. We should not have to still be going through these same things over and over. And I don't care how anybody feels. This is just my personal opinion. A life was still lost. So I don't know how much, if the family was awarded money, if he does get sentenced at the end of the day, all of these things are senseless. The things that does not have to happen. That's the part that's losing me. It's not like, they out in the street battling. Like this is just something that's just totally uncalled for all around the board.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I think that the thing about it is that things like this have been going on, but I think that you know a lot of the things that they put on the news, they put a little bit. They don't put all of it. You get what I'm saying? is saying is that there's a lot of things that go on like this all the time. I mean, I can even say here in South Carolina, stuff happens every single day, and you never hear about it, but they'll pick and choose the one thing that they show. So I think that that's one thing that think needs to be talked about more is that there's a lot of this stuff going on that just isn't right in human nature, and so we just need to talk about it and figure out what's the best way to go about it because lots of stuff is going on that people don't even know that is really going on. I'm sure you guys have the same thing going on where you live.
Yeah, and it just touched home for me. A while back, I was vacationing in Georgia, and I had run-ins with the police a lot in the past. It doesn't bother me, but this particular time, the only thing that's going on in my head was like, wow, I feel like the people that I'm watching on Facebook, I feel like something is going to happen to me. I mean, that's just the only thing that I could think about over a simple traffic stop. Speeding wasn't nothing crazy going on, but it was just interesting to hear the way this cop, the way he was acting and some of the stuff he was telling us just was like, first thing he kept calling me a drug dealer. Then he kept saying that I'm my sister's boyfriend. I'm like, this is my sister. You don't even know anything about us. But as soon as you pull us over, you have instantly stereotyped us to be a couple and for me to be a drug dealer and for us to be up to no good. And he even made the comment to me and was like, you ought to be glad that you're not in a deeper part of the county or this situation would have been a whole lot rough. And his partners and his supervisor, everybody was out there. And the only thing they kept saying was, yeah, he can be a little abrasive. And I just was telling them, like, if y'all know y'all partner is like that, why is he still allowed to be in the position that he's in? Because I'm a licensed carrier. And he was just so upset because I didn't tell him that I had a firearm. And like I told him, I don't have to tell you I have a firearm. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm in the passenger seat at this time. When you approached me and asked me what was going on, that was my right to tell you what was going on. I still didn't have to tell you, but I saw the situation kind of getting out of control, and I didn't want him to feel like, we had anything to hide. But I told him, I said, look, have my hands up. I'm on my phone. And I said, look, I'm a licensed carrier. I got a gun on my right hip or whatever. And I said it very loudly because I just know what to do. And he just started spazzing on me like, you didn't tell me you had this gun. And I hear his partner and my sister talking behind us. And she like, yeah, his partner said, yeah, he said he had the gun. We heard him back here. But she did not, try to intervene and try to slow the situation down. And that thing could have turned very ugly for no reason at all. So what I'm trying to say is I believe if all three of us were riding in the car together and I committed a crime, in some states, y'all would be held accountable just as much as I would because we together, whether you knew what I was doing or not. And I just feel like we need to hold more people accountable.
Accountability is funny, right? No matter what the topic is, accountability is important. And again, I think the fact that this country is in a position that it has to celebrate somebody who's, getting convicted of murder for murdering somebody on video, no less, that's been across the world and back, and created this whole onslaught of riots and other issues, right? It's pretty sad that has to be celebrated. That's a very sad state for humanity. I agree, it was the right decision. Now, don't take that away from it. I think that the fact that it's something to be celebrated over is really just sad as far as the state of where we're at in humanity. I think that there's just so much missing. It doesn't make sense to me how that is something to celebrate. I mean, if you watch the video, which I think I almost vomited watching it became, it was just so apparent that it was cold-blooded murder. Like there was no other question. I mean, the guy's supervisor, whether he meant it or not, had no choice but to testify against him. What choice did he have? He would have been carried out at the stake too if he didn't. Like, I mean, did he do that because he thought it was the right thing, or did he do it just because he didn't have a choice? You know, and this is the problem with the state of the country. This is the problem with the state of affairs the way that it is today. You know, it's really ridiculous, right? And I almost wish that we had a woman's point of view at this point, because I think that there's so many stigmas out there where against women as well, right? And there's just, it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't, right? I just don't get it. I don't understand how it's this type of celebratory thing, you know? Like, I started getting text messages. They just convicted him. My answer was, okay, that's great, I guess. Like, why should that be a question? Like, it shouldn't have been on the news. It shouldn't have been broadcasted on 12 frigging channels. Like, you know, educate people, show them something that's moving forward. Why are we continuing dragging it backwards? Why do we need to make a dog and pony show about somebody getting convicted of cold-blooded murder when it shouldn't have been a doubt?
One question I got for you guys is, you know, I don't watch the news at all, actually. So, you know, a lot of the things you guys are saying, I had no clue was even going on. Other than stock market stuff, I don't even look at the news because it's just too much drama. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff about things like those, and it may not be this particular one, but things of that nature being staged because of you know, hidden agendas, you know, to take guns away. For example, like Jaris, you know, he has a legal license to carry a gun, and they don't necessarily want everybody to do that. What do you guys think about that? I've seen a lot about that.
I'm gonna let you go first, Mike.
I missed part of that. So can you say it again, just because I'm absent-minded and I'm old and it's late?
Yeah. So basically, what in a nutshell, what I said is I don't really watch the news, so I don't really know what you know, what you guys said. Basically, this is the first time I was hearing about it because I just don't watch the news. But what I was saying is that I've seen a lot of stuff about big major events such as that one that you guys are talking about being staged by, you know, whoever it may be to basically run with hidden agendas. For example, you know, gun control, things like that. Like I was saying, you know, Jaris has a legal license to carry a gun, and that's his right. And I believe everybody should have that right. But what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think there's always an agenda, right? I think there's always an underlying agenda to everything. I think the dog and pony show about having it on 12 channels, having it live streamed, having it live viewed is to satisfy a public that was outraged, right? Like, why did we put the O.J. Simpson trial on? You know, I mean, I'm old, so I remember that. You know, I mean, why was it on national news back then when national news was so different? Him driving his truck down the highway, right? Like, I mean, it's like, I just don't understand why they bring these things to the surface that don't have any relevance. And, you know, there's always an underlying agenda to everything that goes across mainstream media. I mean, we can't pretend that there's not, right? There's an enormous agenda to skewing how people look at things, perceive things, vote for things, and, you know, even change their own belief towards things. You know, I feel like this is something that, you know, this is a much bigger conversation, right? Like, you want to go into underlying agendas and stuff. Do you want to switch screens, Michael? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I was trying to get on a better one.
Well, we got two of you now, so there you go. Oh, okay.
There we go. Probably a lot better quality.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I just think there's a bigger picture, and there's always a bigger picture. I really believe that the underlying behind having this on so many channels. I mean, Jaris, how many channels was this live on?
I'm like Mike, I don't watch the news, but I've seen it all over Facebook, all over social media. I can only imagine how many news channels it was on.
Like, I mean, it was insane. Like it was Court TV, True TV, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, like every single one. It's like, guys, okay, if he doesn't go to jail, the country's gonna burn to the ground. Like so don't even air it and put something on that matters. Because and you know what? If he didn't go to jail, the country probably has a right to burn down because we're idiots. Like it's ridiculous already. Like, the underlining agendas and, the different parties and the way that they push their agendas and the way that the news pushes the party's agendas and the way that the money pushes all the news that it wants to be, whatever direction. There's so much beneath this, and there's so much that is riding on this every step of the way that they didn't have a choice but to convict him. They wanted to put it on TV to make a stand, I guess, to do this big dog and pony show to make people happy. But at the end of the day, what did it really prove? It proved that we knew how to put a murderer that we saw on a 9-minute video murder somebody, at least convicted him, right? So now it's sentencing. What does he get sentenced to? I mean, I hope it's the rest of his life. I mean, it's the only thing that would be fair, right? Like, I mean, this guy took away a life and deserves to be in there for life, and that's it. Like, there is no equivalent to that. Now, I don't really want to pay for him to be the rest of his life in prison, but that's whatever. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, I mean, I think this is all part of it, and I think there's lots of pieces to this, and I think there's lots of things to this that need to be underlying and really observed in. But hey, Marcello, yeah, I mean. So what else is going on, Jaris? I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since we did this. You had a birthday, so you're old now, older.
I think now would be a good time for Michael and I to just kind of like share some insights on our journey on LinkedIn and how we started, because we started together and we're still together, I think this would be a good time for us just to share, how we got started. Mike, what you think? You want to go first? So I want to hear your perspective on how things were going, so I can understand,
Let me go check on Sid.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess that's you want to go ahead, or you want to wait for him?
Go ahead.
All right. We'll roll. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I think I started really heavy on LinkedIn back in August of 2019, I believe it was. And, back then, I mean, I didn't even have 500 connections. I remember when the times when it was like we were trying to get to 500 connections. I had no clue what I was doing. I wasn't creating content. And then I just kind of started. I started seeing other people, and Jaris was one of the very, very first people that I actually really connected with. We started commenting back and forth on each other's posts, and then we just kind of connected and we clicked like instantly, and just started talking offline and supporting each other all the time. I mean, we weren't even asking each other. We just kind of did it. We just kind of supported each other. We resonated on so many levels, and then it just kind of grew from there. Anytime you saw me on a post, you saw Jaris, and vice versa. And we were just kind of always there. So that's just kind of how it started for me. And, he was really the first person that I ever connected with offline and saw the power of that. And here we are, almost, I'd say probably a year and a half now or more, Yeah. And we're still really good friends, talk, all the time offline, and just help each other. And I think that's really shows the power of networking and LinkedIn, and just, when you're genuine and you're there to help each other, you never know what'll come from it,
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to touch on when I talk about building relationships with people. And we have never asked each other to do anything, We haven't asked to support my business, or can you refer somebody? We just support each other's posts. And I appreciate our relationship, because who would have knew we would be doing what we're doing now? Just sharing our story. We knew back in the past, and we kind of joked around about it, but I had no idea, man, that what the girl I was talking to, and I still talk to her, man, she told me, she said, that's the one gonna stick with you. Out of everybody, it was a group of us when we kind of started.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's gonna be your friend. He's gonna be somebody that's gonna support you. And I'm just like, wow, years later, man, like we both got the same amount of followers. And I remember, like you said, just trying to hit 500 followers, having no idea what LinkedIn was about, didn't know nothing about making content. At that time, I had just quit my full-time job. So I was trying to get my marketing company off the ground, and I thought LinkedIn would be the perfect spot to do that. I had no idea that they didn't want to hear nothing about my marketing company because nobody didn't know us. And it's just strange, man. I don't remember how we got connected. I just remember leaving some feedback on your post. You start leaving feedback on my post. We did some collaborating together. Next thing you know, we was exchanging phone numbers, text messages. We had a couple Zoom meetings, and here we are today.
Yeah, for sure. And it just kind of happened organically and naturally. I think that's the important thing about it is nothing was ever pushed. It just happened, and it happened for us. I see Marcello wants to know the name of my cat. I guess he got in the picture. We tried to make him a really cool name, but he ended up just being called Little Man. And then the one behind me right there, that's Tiger Lily. They're all acting crazy. I've been gone all day long, me and my girlfriend, so they're happy that we're home.
But yeah, I think it's cool how we still support each other, man. And like I said, we don't ask each other for anything. It's truly organic. And I remember when I got on LinkedIn, I got in this pod, and I didn't know nothing about engagement pieces, but I was in it for like a month. But we had to comment on everybody had to comment on each other's posts, and I just was like, man, we weren't like that. We were just friends, and we rarely would even share each other's posts. I think you mentioned to us one time, you was like, we don't want to do that. Just let us know, hey guys, I posted something. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. And from then, we're here now, still friends, still supporting each other. But I'm still interested in to see our growth, like just us having this first LinkedIn Live together. I was excited when you got it. When you told me that, I said, man, I've been applying for this thing, but I was happy that you had got it first.
Right, exactly. And it's just it's like, when I see you succeed, it's like, oh man, I'm so happy about it. And the other thing is just bouncing ideas off of each other. We just bounce so many different ideas that, hey, what did you think about that? And you would give me your feedback and say, no, maybe you want to do it something like that. And you never would have thought about it unless you had that collaboration, like you said.
Yeah, I just want to figure, why I got you now. I know you done got super busy on me. I want to get back to that, man. Like figuring out a way to where we can share our journey and our relationships and showing people how you really can have an organic relationship with somebody, a stranger turned to a friend. I mean, we did this over a long period of time before we had even exchanged phone numbers. I mean, a lot of our stuff was just strictly sending DMs. We did have like a little separate group thing, but other than that, I appreciate that. And I know other people can. So maybe, sometime offline when you get free time, man, it'd be an honor if you wanted to do that or just have a strict interview on actually building relationships, not worrying people, not trying to sell them nothing, just trying to have a friend and see what comes out of that.
Oh yeah, for sure, exactly. I'm down for that, and I'm open to both. I think it's just important that you stay connected. When you really connect with somebody, especially online, you're not going to see them all the time. It's just important to keep up with each other and just see bounce ideas off, see how you can help each other.
You remember when we were just doing a lot of written content, man? Who was the first one to start doing video? Was that you?
I can't remember. I think we kind of did it at the same time, maybe somewhere. We're normally about like dead on when we do things like that. But yeah, I haven't done a video in a long time. I know that's something I need to do. I've been kind of itching to get back. You've been killing the videos lately.
Yeah, but I haven't posted. I think now, man, I'm probably posting like 1 or 2 videos a week, man. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, and I'm trying to, because I feel like when I do videos, I feel like people can read my language and they get to know me, and I don't want to be doing a video angry or upset, and that energy is what people are feeling when they watch the video. So I'm gonna take time. I've been taking time to kind of get my mental health together and get everything right before I actually decide to come back and post some videos every day, because a lot of people were telling me that, like, you have to post every day. And I'm like, I don't think you have to post every day. That's just my opinion. You post when you want to post.
I agree with that. I agree. Right now. I've been kind of MIA lately. I'd say I'm about to a post a week right now. And to be honest, like, I haven't really even seen a drop off when I post. I mean, I still get about the same engagement, so I'm not really concerned about that. But hey, you got to do what works for you. That's what I've always found. What do you think, Michael?
For me, it's I do a post maybe once a month, and I used to do a video a day. So like, I'm not worried about it right now. Like, I'm just head down, focusing on the lives, focusing on everything else that I'm doing, working on myself, healing myself right now. Just trying to take as much downtime as possible and work and, do everything that I need to do. Right. So at the end of the day, for me, there's just other priorities right now. I'm finally starting to feel a little bit better, starting to feel like myself again, other than Sid breaking my camera. I'm doing good. Right. Like, I'm just not as engaged or intertwined in social media at all anymore. I've really taken a step back from all social. It's just not where I'm meant to be right this moment. The only thing I do on social really is my lives. And now, granted, I do a lot of them a week. I'm still doing 7 a week. So I am constant as far as that's concerned, but I'm just not focusing on this stuff. I've been building my network for 14 years, right? So it's definitely a different way that I've been doing it. I mean, I was active on LinkedIn for a decade straight, every single day, reaching out to people, engaging, building deep relationships. And, to me, at this stage where it's at now, I need to build around it a little bit more before I can go back and utilize it in a different way. So I have a large network. I have a very large network. I take pride in my network. I take pride in the resources that my network provides me, and that I provide for it. And it's not as much about the post to me right now. It's not as much about that, because I'm just at a different stage, right? Because I have that decade put in already. When everybody jumped on with COVID, I slowed down because I was already there and established and in a different way. Like, posting was never my way. It was more about direct messaging and building direct connections. It was never about those, putting it out there at that moment, right? The videos came into play because of Brian Schulman and his influence on me. It became a great way of self-expression for me, and a great way for me to be relatable and reach out to people and build those relationships that I have. Now it's just not in building mode. Now it's more in maintaining and utilizing mode than it is anything else.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I just want to commend you, Mike. Mark called me today, and I said, every time you introduce me to somebody, it's always something that it's like what we can get from each other. So I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate that, because he was giving me some insights on what I have going on now, man. He was just like, slow things down to the speed of nature. I listened to the interview that you had, and he said it again, and I said, man, yeah. So I just appreciate you. I feel like I'm somebody who has a strong network offline. Like, I know a lot of good people, but them on both sides. So thank you for that, man.
I mean, again, right? It's synchronicities. It's years of putting the time in. It's years of building it out, right? And it doesn't go away if you disappear for a short period of time. It just shifts. The engagement part, again, that's a little bit of vanity at the same time in my mind. So I don't really worry about it. Like, I did a post this morning for the first time in probably a month. I haven't even looked at it. I think I might have looked at it once today. But like it's not, to me, that's not what it's about, right? It's a catalog of information that I share with the world, and when the world receives it, they receive it. I'm not worried about when they receive it. You know, I have conversations. Some people resonate right away. Some people it takes time. You know, I look for that direct bond, and I know that when people are ready to talk to me, they know how to find me. I don't seek. I'm done with the seeking part.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I want to kind of go back to what you said earlier, Michael. You know, you said you've been spending a lot of time working on yourself, and definitely commend you on that. And that's something that I'm doing as well. Is just, you know, as you work more on yourself, then the rest of everything else that you're doing is just only going to get enhanced. So that's actually the best thing that I believe anybody can really do, is when you enhance yourself, you're going to actually enhance humanity and everything else you're doing along with it. So.
Well, the last 13 months has been like a marathon race for me. Or I should say, you know what? It's a series of sprints, because I've done so much work in the last 13 months. I'm not even the same person anymore. I'm nowhere near the same person. And the relationships that I built in the past 13 months are actually, some of them are the deepest relationships I've ever had in my life. Right. And it's because I'm at a different level. I'm in a different place. I'm more open. It has nothing to do with anybody else, because we only receive what we're able to receive. So if we don't work on ourselves, then we're not going to be able to receive the deepest parts of messages. We're not going to be able to receive the deepest, you know, the deepest parts. Like, we're not going to, the deepest soul felt messages won't come through to somebody who's not at a soul level. And that's a shit ton of work, because, you know, we're horrible humans.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, we all start out as conscious, pure beings when we're babies, and then as we encounter things and our perceptions get filled with stuff, then we turn into who we are today. You know. So a lot about our environment, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm at too.
Right. So that's fine.
As I grow and learn how to take care of myself, I'm learning that I can help take care of whoever is willing to be taken care of. So that's something I think we all have to work on. Myself, and a few others. We had to take off, man. We were just going hard, Mike. I mean, just live every day, talking with each other on the phone, trying to do this, trying to do that. We literally had to tell each other, get some rest, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
when
you
last
gotta.
time you heard from Brad?
I heard from him today, actually. I think he's starting a new brand or business or something along those lines. So he messaged me today, and I need to message him back once I get off of this. But yeah, it seems like he's going in a new direction. It seems like he's got some good things going for him. What about you? Have you talked to him?
Yeah, I supported what he had going on Instagram. I just shouted him out, and when I do these podcast interviews, I make sure that I let people know about you and him and Michael Adams, because our support group so tight. That's what kind of got me to the point that I'm at, having y'all support, you know, help me to build this brand and to build whatever we got going on. So I just want to personally thank you and thank them. But I just try to keep in contact. I don't talk to him as much as I talk to you, but everything's still good.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. You know, I'm always here to you know, support you and share about you, because especially, you know, kind of just what we were talking about earlier, our story of just the friendship that we've created, which I think is really cool. You know, I was telling my girlfriend earlier, we were on the way back. I had a meeting with a client kind of far, so she rode with me. But I was like, you know, yeah, Jaris is actually, you know, like a true friend. You know, we'll never know what'll come, you know, in the future, because we've just been able to just connect on such a deeper level, you know.
Yeah, and I don't want to touch on. I don't want to go into too much detail, because I'm not in the conspiracy theories. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff you've been putting on your stories lately, right? And I'm like, okay, you and I are more like-souled or like-minded, as Mike say, than I had thought, man. I didn't know you had those insights of what they're talking about, what's going on in today's society. So when I was watching your LinkedIn stories, I was like, oh, okay. I don't want to get into too much into conspiracy theories, but there is a agenda overall, as we were talking about earlier, man.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, my stories is kind of just my little place to spit out there. Just if somebody sees it, they see it. I don't. But yeah, I do. I've been last, I'd say 4+ years. Me and my girlfriend and a lot of my close friends have been doing a lot of digging, researching, and just really just feeling how we feel about what's going on in the world, even before this last year. But like you said, there is some sort of agenda going on in the world. I don't think that everything that's happened, especially the past year, has just been by chance.
Yeah, and I just, I like to tread very carefully, man, because I mean, it's touching, it's all around. I don't want to offend anybody, but just speaking on the video that they kept on playing, I felt like when you keep watching something over and over, Mike, you correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it gets embedded in your subconscious mind. And when I had a little incident, that's the only thing that was just coming to my brain. Like, oh my God, like I'm feeling like you couldn't tell me that I was watching this unfold as if I was watching it on Facebook.
Oh yeah. It's all about, I don't know if you guys ever seen, when you're watching a show, normally it's either like a TV series
Special
or
guest.
something.
I think we need a girl in this conversation.
We requested a female presence, and here it is.
Here she is. Hi,
Do
you
you
guys.
do you know Michael Rivera?
I don't. Hi, Michael. I'm Jen.
Hey Jen, how are you?
I'm
Another good friend.
fantastic.
Another good friend of ours, Michael.
Good.
Michael, you need to know
I'm
Jen.
gonna put a mic on you all. Y'all two should talk.
Looking forward to it, Michael.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So I hope you don't mind me breaking up the boy group tonight.
No.
Not at all.
Loving the conversation, just building relationships, building community. Jaris, I think you said it beautifully. Just that true connection, right? How we can support each other and grow each other. Hi, Sid.
What's up, Sid?
Without the sales piece, without the that is awesome. Sid, I wish I had my sunglasses close. I would put mine on and be cool with you.
I know, but just now have daddies.
Yeah, you have daddies.
Yeah.
Daddy's old ones that you broke. Yes, you have them. They're yours. Okay. You don't want your iPad tonight, huh, kid?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't want.
Your what?
It's just me.
It's just you? Okay.
Yeah. I can't pick you. I can't pick you, Dad.
Just
I
steals.
can't pick you.
Hi,
She
Ken.
always does.
I love
She
it.
always does. Always does. Oh, here she goes. Here she goes.
Impeccable. I mean, look at you.
I get
Bunny ears. You're good. Yeah.
Sid, what are we going to talk about? What should we talk about?
Yeah, is she there? I think she asked you something.
You said what? You said what? I'm just so caught in the cameo moment. It's so cool to me. I cannot wait to get my children for them to do me the same way. But anyway, I guess we were just wanting a female perspective, some female energy on. Mike, you want to go on that, Mike? What were we trying to get the female input on?
I don't know. Pick a topic, Jaris. Any of them. I'm kind of entertained. I'm kind of being entertained right now. I'm a human jungle gym.
I'm like a little kid because that's just entertaining me. I don't see nobody.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
And that's what I was mentioning. I said, Sid, what do you want to talk about next? So, yeah. What topics do we want to talk about? I mean, this is your show. What kind of topics do you want to feel more voice on?
I don't know. I mean,
we were talking about community. We were talking about LinkedIn building. We were talking about videos. We were talking about posting. We were talking about posting regularly, not posting regularly. We were talking about the murderer getting convicted today. How it was all over media. How media is construing everything. Should I keep going, Jen?
No, we're good. Okay, so I got one. All right, so let's talk about the different perspectives on a female voice versus a male voice on what we bring to social media, and how we're both giving information and how we're receiving information. How about that topic?
Yeah.
Works for me.
For me, I can tell you that, and I think that some of it comes with experience. I think some comes with age. I think some comes with just throwing off the hat of saying, well, it's just not going to matter anymore. For me, I can tell you that I come from a very heart-focused. I'm going to dance a little bit because part of me is sometimes more vulnerable than others. And definitely for me as a female voice, it comes from a protection mode as well. Like I tend to come from vulnerability and also protecting what I'm saying with who might receive it. So I tend to think of how it's going to be received and how I'm going to give it, if that makes sense. It does, because it did in my head. So.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting and unique because I do a lot of interacting on Clubhouse, and we were talking about this a while back. For me, a female's perspective is going to be perspective is going to be different. But I appreciate what you said. Most of the time, females are going to come from that loving, caring type of perspective. Then a man, we're learning. I speak for myself. I'm learning that it's okay to come from that perspective as well. Like we don't always have to be tough, macho. We can be vulnerable, and that's a conversation that a word that I'm hearing a lot lately. Just vulnerability, and I think a lot of times you need that because you get to see a different perspective. You get to understand what's going on, and I think it's okay, especially for men, to put our feelings to the side and just say how we really feel, whether that's to be fluffy, as some people like to say. Sometimes I think you do need to be fluffy to get your point across, but I don't think that involves me changing who I am. I just think depending on who I'm talking to, if I really want my point to land home, then I'm going to have to put some thought into what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, and the body language and my energy that I'm putting behind it.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, Jaris. Interestingly, I was in a conversation earlier today, and the person I was speaking with had made the comment that she just puts it out exactly, here's who I am, here's who I give it, here's however it gets received, it gets received. And I think that there's that perspective too, because I could honestly, I could talk about both sides. I could see the value of saying, here's just me, here's my authentic voice, and who's ever attracted to it is going to be attracted to it. And other points that sometimes people just need us to be a little, to your point, a little softer. And other times people just need us to be more direct and let's just cut through everything and let's just get to the point. And often I tend to find that there's this happy medium right in between those two, while still being authentic to who we are.
Yeah, and I also think it depends on the position you're in. If you are a leader of anything, whether that's a supervisor, whether you're the parent, whether you're the person that somebody looks up to, I think you have to put more thought and more effort in how you are delivering what you're trying to say, because this is something that I learned. I lead by example, and I'm learning that I can't talk to everybody the same way. And through building relationships, understanding, especially if I'm talking to an employee of mine that I want something to get done that's going to benefit the overall company, right? I'm going to have to deliver my message so you understand what I'm saying, why I'm saying it, and how this is going to benefit the whole situation. Now, if I'm talking to my son or my daughter, I may not have to go into that much detail. But I just think as a leader, you just have to know. If you're not a leader, then you might feel like you said, Jen, I'm gonna say what I want to say. If you feel it, you feel it. If you don't, you don't. And I think that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think as somebody in a leadership position, you have to give that some thought.
100% agree with that. I also just want to add, I mean, in leadership roles, I think that for me, at least, and I may have shared this before, but when I've really looked at my dynamic of going from a manager to a leader, there's been so much of a shift in me inviting my employees to say, here's the structure. How do you want, here's the outcome we need. How do you see getting there?
The mouse.
What do you think you can do? How do you think you can make it happen? And then for me, I've always gotten more ownership with them carrying things through in that conversation.
It doesn't charge. You just play with it.
Just like Mike said when we were having this conversation. He said, I wish we had a female's input on what we were talking about, because that's sometimes needed. And I think we just, touched on it. What you think, Mike?
Yeah, and I think that the important thing, or at least what's worked for me, is that I always try to see where a person is, where they're at, and then after that, then I know which way I need to attack the situation, if you want to call it that. Even just like dealing with my clients, there's some clients that they want to be done quickly, and then there's some that need more care and attention, and so it's a situation where you have to really see where people are. And sometimes you might have to be brutally honest, and sometimes you might have to just take it nice and easy. It just really depends on where a person is in their life.
But I think to understand where a person is in their life or how to handle a situation, you have to know yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's something I'm heavy on. Personal development, understanding self-knowledge, so you can understand. If I'm having a conversation, sometimes you have to be more direct, and I just feel like that's what this world needs. Sometimes I feel like we do kind of tiptoe around. Even right tonight, I wanted to talk about agendas. Me and Mike, we'll talk about that offline. But I know you have to tiptoe around just to kind of, so you don't offend anybody, because I'm still learning how to speak and how, what audience I have and all this kind of fine stuff. But it's very important to be self-aware and to understand what I bring to the table, what my strong points are emotionally, so I can better help somebody else. Because I think that's to me what it's all about, inspiring others to be better.
Jaris, you brought up a topic for me that's a hot button in a good way, in a really, really good way. The reason I say that is because I think we need a full shift. When I look back, and I've been in leadership for over 20 years, and to your point, like, I grew up as a leader that said, you just do it this way, and you're direct and you're to the point, and this is just the way it is. And there's been this shift in dynamic over the decades that you do. There's a lot of people who expect the lighterness. And I think in the lighterness, or enabling, or whatever you choose to call it, there's a lack of clarity in what actually needs to happen, because we do all this dancing around and trying to come around from the side instead of just coming in straight, because we don't want to hurt people's feelings, as opposed to just saying, okay, without judgment, here's the way it is, and let's just dance through it, right? And I think that for me, this is such a bigger conversation, because if, to your point, we could just be more direct but respectful to say, here's what you're doing, and if you're going to be successful, here's what you need to do, in a very clear, concise, respectful, professional tone, we could get so much more things done. And to your point, it's just a bigger conversation. Like, there's a whole, in my opinion, shift generationally that we have to shift back to, without going so far the other direction either.
Yeah. When I first got into my leadership role, it took me a while, man. I was literally holding my employees' hand, trying to coach them to do the job. And one day, another supervisor and a plant manager, they just pulled me to the side and were like, look, you are the supervisor. You don't have to beg. You don't have to ask, just ask them politely and respectfully. And I think that's when I first started working on tactfulness and understanding how to have a difficult conversation, when to have a difficult conversation. I think that's something that this world does need more of. We do need to be straightforward, especially speaking on myself. Even though I'm a pretty straightforward guy, I am. But at times I try to, my tactfulness and my ability to be so humble sometimes outweighs me from just coming to whoever I need to talk to and say, look, I have a problem. This is what's on my heart. I just want to tell you, I'm not trying to be funny or mean, but my heart is telling me to tell you, look, get yourself together, and that's just something that I'm working on personally.
Well, I think you're darn good at it.
You're welcome. Thank you, because I'm trying, y'all.
Well, and you made a comment, you said difficult conversations. I think that that's one of the labels that we can rip off. Like, why does it have to be difficult? Why does it have to be difficult just to be honest?
True.
Why can't it just be, I want to have an honest conversation about how we can grow together and how I can help you to be a better employee or how we can be a better couple or whatever. And I think if we rip the label off being difficult or hard or anything like that, and I can only say this because I still do it. This is still a learning zone for me of that label of hard conversations that I put on sometimes. And when I take it off, they're just always easier because it's just a conversation.
I can remember, like I said, being in a leadership role, and it was just one person. She had been working for the company for like 17 years. And I got the supervisor position over her. And she was just giving us so much hell because she knew everything. Like, I literally had to come to her and ask her, okay, how do you do this and how do you do that? But she was so frustrated because she didn't get the role. So we would have to role play with each other. We would get somebody else to come in there, act like her, and I'm trying to have a difficult conversation with her. And I'm like, Eugene, it did get to the point where she pushed me to just be able to be free and just say what I wanted to say because she was just so negative. And, we would be trying to counsel her and she would just be like, oh, yeah, whatever. And over a period of time, I got fed up with it. So I eventually just called her in the office one day and said, look, this is exactly what's going on. This is what I need you to do. If you don't do this, this is the consequences of the actions. Do you understand me? And we didn't have a problem from that day. And she actually respected me. She told me to my face, by the time you got some balls and you are able to be my supervisor. But I'm still learning because of the position I'm in, trying to serve the world and try to talk to people or whatever you call it. I know everybody has their own perspectives and the way they were brought up. And I don't ever want to be the one that is trying to share my perspective and hurt your feelings or crush your perspective like it doesn't matter. So I think it's just a fine line, but I'm with you 100%, Jen. We do need to rip the labels off and be more direct.
Yeah. Michael, did you have something?
No, I was just gonna say I agree. It's just these it's just conversations. It's not hard conversations. It's just there's all these labels, and it seems like we're getting more and more labels these days on everything. When it's just in reality, life's very simple. We just overcomplicate it with our perceptions of things.
Right. When I think, Jaris, one of the points that you had mentioned in your leading a certain way before you got direct with your employee, I think you could take 100 different employees and have the same exact conversation, and 100 of them would take it all differently. There's some that we can be in part that has to do with us knowing our employees, but another part, I have to say, as a leader, sometimes you want to still have that consistency that everyone's treated the same as well. So it is a dance.
Yeah, and it took me a long time, y'all. I think it took me like a year of just bumping my head over and over, and for other supervisors saying, man, look, it's not that complicated. Like Mike said, it's simple. You know what you come to work. If you don't want to work. And it took me a while to just understand that concept because I was actually building a relationship with my employees. I wanted to know why they acted the way they act. And not only that, I got it. It was so much coming on both sides, the management side. Them happened to come to work. We could not just come to work. It It was always some political BS. It was always something every single day. And to me, I say this a lot. It was just like dancing with the devil. I was sitting inside my car 20 minutes, dreading to come in. Now, if I'm the supervisor, I'm dreading to be here. I know they're dreading to be here. And I say that to say I have some special gift to I understand people's insights. I kind of understand where you're coming from. Now, I'm not right all the time, but when I talk to somebody, sometimes I put myself in their shoes too much, and I kind of feel for them instead of just saying what I need to say. And that's just something that I consciously know I have to work on.
Okay, so here's a thought. I think it's both. I think it's meeting people where they're at and understanding the life things that they're going through and understanding, because let's face it, sometimes we have life on our hearts that's impacting our work. And when you have that connection, Jaris, that you do with people because of that, I think we actually lead better.
And can I say something, Jen? I mean,
no, you can't, Michael.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm wearing down. I'm ready for bed. Like, I'm just wore down. I think Sid just. I think Sid just took everything I had left out of me. I mean, Jaris, 1 year to learn to be able to adapt like that.
Yeah,
that's nothing. Like, there's managers that have been managers for 20 years that can't do that.
Yep.
So, and I've been around them. So don't look at a year as a long time.
Yep.
A year is nothing. Like, I mean, absolutely nothing, you know, and to learn to use your skills before you realize even what they are, that's a pretty magical thing. So don't discount that either, because, you know, you were still at a point where you're still trying to figure yourself out. Right. And at that point you were able to tap into something that you didn't even know existed. And you did, and you rose above, and you came up with solutions, and you figured out the best way to do things for the people, not for yourself, right? Like, there is managers that go their whole career and whole life not knowing how to do that.
Yep.
I mean, think about how many senior citizens there are that still treat people like shit. Like, I mean, you know, you're looking at this, like, your learning curve is tremendous, right? And appreciate that, because there's bosses, there's people, there's, you know, adults, there's seniors. I mean, there's people everywhere that treat people like shit, you know, and it doesn't matter. It all comes down to the core that you're just treating people like shit. Like, there is no answer. So it's one of those things where you just gotta roll with it.
I'm learning, y'all. You know, that's something I do appreciate about myself. I'm always learning. And I think I had a conversation, like I said, with Mike, and that's something else he was telling me, just to slow down and enjoy this process of learning and being able to be in the position that I'm in.
I think we're all always learning if we allow it. I'm still learning as much now as I was, probably more now than I was 20 years ago. And I think that's the beauty in it all, when we just keep allowing to learn and grow and change and develop and do better and be better for ourselves and others.
Oh, yeah. If you can have an open mind and be open to seeing other perspectives and other ways of doing things, then, you know, there's a lot that the world, universe, whatever you want to call it, can offer to you. But I think the key thing is being open to learning. A lot of people go, you know, 20, 30 years, or they just get out of college and they say, oh, learning's done. I'm not learning anything new. I'm going to stick in my old ways forever. And I've seen many, many people who go their whole lives like that. So having the open mind and the, you know, accountability and responsibility to yourself to say, hey, I really don't know shit. None of us do. You know, none of us really know anything. So we just got to learn every single day.
And again, I mean, you know, Jen, I'm going to correct you real quick. You're soul-centered. You're not heart-centered anymore. You're beyond that, right?
Fair enough. You're right.
You're beyond that now. You've progressed past that. Jaris, you're progressing past that. Michael, you keep doing the work. You're on your way there, right? Like, you know, you don't want to stay still, right? You don't want to be heart-centered your whole life. You want to go to the next level.
Right.
And then soul level is just infinite, so it doesn't matter, because once you tap into that, you're tapping into universal energy and knowledge, and it's limitless. There is no cap to it, because once you fully understand yourself and your own energy, then you can understand the energy that exists out there and tap into it in a way to be able to benefit, everyone. And that's the goal, right? I mean, we all want to make impact. We all want to inspire. We all want to lift others up, and we all want to carry them forward in ways. But this is a good conversation, and it's probably time to end before I fall asleep on a live, which I don't think I've done yet, but I probably would tonight.
We're not gonna let you do that. I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you, Jim, for popping up. I definitely appreciate.
Thanks
Michael,
for letting me join.
Oh, listen, anytime you save me, Jim. You're always saving me. Mike, we're gonna talk later. I want to have that conversation about agendas and conspiracies too. I think that'll be something great.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Watch our back though. We start talking like that. We got to be careful.
Oh yeah, they'll come and tap our phone and listen to our conversation, I'm sure. but yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. It was a great conversation. Very insightful.
Thank everybody for tuning in with us. I truly appreciate y'all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Have a good night. I really hit the button, I swear.